Tony wasn't with a combat unit in Vietnam. His group was responsible for reporting the names of all the dead and wounded back to the Department of the Army. For several years, he's been volunteering on special days at the wall.
Why? It just struck me that, you know, my job wasn't done yet. I still had, as a casualty guy, I still had something that I needed to do. And that maybe I could bring some comfort to people and talk to them about the war and try to explain it wasn't the way you see it like in the movies.
There's no such thing as a Vietnam experience. Just as there's no such thing as an Iraqi, Afghanistan experience. Dependent upon when you were in country, what you were doing in country had a lot to do with your experience. They were Vietnam experiences.
Offerings at the wall are contemporary history.
All this stuff tells us about ourselves, and that's what an archaeologist does. We find stuff to talk about what we were like. And I think all of these objects talk about us and what we believe in, what we think about, what hurts us, what makes us feel better, all those things.
Little American flags waving in the wind, and there's 50,000 names carved in the wall.
The seat is for our brothers and sisters on the wall when they come home.
The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Collection contains objects that can be regarded as kind of a social history of America in recent decades.
This is a history written by the everyday person. For lack of a better term, we're talking about from the ground up instead of in the past from the top down.
Bob Hogman Thompson is one of the notable authors of that rewrite of social history. When he returned to Wisconsin from Vietnam, he became a biker, joined the Hell's Henchmen motorcycle club. He was a member for a handful of years, but kept riding afterward. He forgot about Vietnam, or tried to.
It was a hard transition for everybody. We didn't come home to a parade. We didn't come home to anything. We come home pretty shameful, I think.
He'd been a member of a Marine radio relay team in country in 1968 and 1969.
You learn so much, you grow up fast. Like, let's say your buddy gets shot, well, you take the time to make sure he's gotten to a place where he can be taken care of. But you don't have time to sit around and moan too much about what's fair, what's not fair. He got shot. Thank God I didn't. It was moving out the next day, going somewhere else, doing something.
When the Vietnam Veterans Memorial opened in 1982, he didn't think much about it.
It was just another thing from Washington, D.C., trying to make the vets feel better and stuff like that. I didn't read too much about it. What happened in 1968 when I came back, I forgot it. I wanted nothing to do with it.
Then he decided to participate in the annual Rolling Thunder Run. Rolling Thunder started small in 1987 and had grown to an estimated 350,000 bikes by 2008. Motorcyclists from across the country converge on Washington, D.C. on Memorial Day. The goal? Bring attention to the prisoners of war and the missing in action still unaccounted for from the Vietnam years and beyond. On his first run, Hogman finally saw the wall.
It was a whole new experience for me, but I shed no tears.
But he noticed all the objects at the wall, and on a later run, Hogman started thinking about what the state of Wisconsin could leave. He was thinking something big.
Something that we could do, something that we could bring from Wisconsin that meant something to a lot of people. I thought of, how about a Harley Davidson?
Harley Davidson was founded in Wisconsin. But the wall bike would be no ordinary showroom hog.
How this started was actually Hoggy and Polak come up along with other people, came up with an idea to maybe build a bike as a commemorative, as in memory of all the brothers and sisters.
Over the course of the next year or so, the idea evolved. Build a custom motorcycle from scratch, with major parts donated from across the state. Master motorcycle restorer Willie Kiefert was asked to put it all together.
We had to kind of build it, take it all apart, then paint it, fit everything. I think it took, Hoggy, what did it take us, a year?
1 year.
1 year, eh? I think it took us a year.
A frame was donated, then altered to make it more level. A design contest was run for the paint job on the gas tank and fenders. Every detail was to have meaning.
We had the dog tags made. There's one for every one of the 37 servicemen that were listed as missing in action from Vietnam.
The seat was never sat on. The seat is for our brothers and sisters on the wall when they come home, so they'll have a place to ride with us.
We wanted it to be a bike that would reflect the era where we came back. And this bike wasn't built to give to the United States government. This bike was built for the 58,000 plus people on the wall. This is their bike, nobody else's.
Okay, first down in the left here we got Mongo. Then we have Kickstand and Jen. We got Polak and Marlene, Deb and Shooter.
The bike was left at the wall as part of Rolling Thunder weekend in 1995, an offering the Park Service at first didn't know how to accept. But Hogman and his group helped transport it to the warehouse.
We took it over there, and it's been sitting there, and they've been watching it ever since. They're doing a good job over there. Thank you so much.
It's become one of the stars of the collection, shown all over the country when museums mount exhibits of wall offerings. It always travels with a plaque commemorating all the people who contributed to its creation.
We just are all part of it. It has been my pleasure. I've been honored to be able to contribute.
In the spring of 2010, the VFW posted a $1 million bond so the Park Service would let Hogman bring the bike back to Wisconsin to restore it to its original condition. New tires, a repaint job, and careful touch-ups of small dings and details.
What year does that quarter say?
The bike was shown at a Vietnam Veterans Homecoming observance in Wisconsin, then returned to the collection over Memorial Day weekend.
The Park Service might be holding on to it, but it belongs to the guys on the wall, our buddies that didn't come back from Vietnam. This is their bike. Anytime we're out for a ride, they're riding right next to us on this.
Hogman lives in the vicinity of Holy Hill, a monastery and church that can be seen for miles, a Wisconsin landmark. On a roadside scale, Hogman's place is a shrine to Vietnam vets and to POW MIAs. People leave offerings in his yard all the time. He's grown to appreciate the national monument hundreds of miles away that inspired the idea of public offerings.
It's definitely a healing process that you go through at the wall. That's where you leave your heart, that's where you leave your thoughts, that's where you leave a lot of tears, and nothing wrong with that.
You should all go there once in your lifetime because you need to see like what we saw.